I cut contact with my parents after my mother tried to have me exorcised and my father tried to infiltrate my wife, but now 13 years later, my father is gravely ill and wants to reconnect. I, 45M, have been no contact with my family for 13 years now, basically because of how they treated my wife, 53F. As you can see, my wife is 8 years older than I am. We met when I was 24 and she was 32. I didn't care about the age gap, I still love her, and she is a wonderful woman, but it was heavily criticized by people around us. I have cut off some of my friends because they called my wife an old hag, a predator, and one even made rude comments about her lady parts, but what hurt was how my parents treated us. My mom never approved of our relationship. The first time I introduced my wife to my parents, my mom made a passive-aggressive comment like, "How many eggs do you have left?" I'm just saying because I want grandchildren. And it didn't stop there because my mom was a very conservative Christian. She started spreading rumors that my wife is a witch, that she's a devil, and that she has possessed me and is going to take me away from her. My wife was surprisingly calm with everything being thrown at her and she said she knew something like this was going to happen. I was furious, though, and I told my mom that unless she decides to fix her toxic behavior, I will not be in contact with her. But she didn't stop. She called the priest and tried to perform an exorcism on me. She made up stuff like my wife was promiscuous and had slept with over 300 men. I know my wife is more experienced than I am, obviously because she is older, but I know she didn't sleep with that many men, and I called my mom out on her nonsense. She also claimed that my wife is after my money, which is again crazy because at that time my wife earned more than I did. She was so disapproving of my wife that she didn't even come to our wedding. Our lives went on as usual, though, and we had 3 kids. Then one day, out of the blue, my mom called us to apologize. She cried and said she was wrong, that she missed me and was willing to accept my wife. I was hesitant, but my wife encouraged me to talk to my mom more often. I did, and it felt good to know my mom was finally on my side. My parents ended up inviting us to their house, and we went. My mom was thrilled to meet my wife and the kids. Everything was going great, but then we heard some ruckus in the bathroom. My wife was screaming at my dad. My mom was asking her to calm down, and it just started a very ugly screaming match. After they all calmed down, my wife said that my father had cornered her and tried to kiss her. I was shocked, and I knew my wife wasn't lying because when we first met our parents, my dad would make some very awkward and inappropriate comments to my wife. Now I know why. My mom threw her niceness out the window and started calling my wife a homewrecker, saying things like, "You took my son away from me, and now you want to take my husband too." That was the final straw and I decided that was it. I am done with my parents, and they will no longer have a place in my life. Over the years, I've missed them. My wife said a couple of times that maybe I should let go of the past and meet them, but I refused. Last night, I got a call from my mother. I don't know how she got my number, but she told me my dad was sick and she is afraid he will not make it. If I'm being honest, I want to meet him, but I cannot forget how they treated me and my wife, especially after my dad literally tried to force himself on my wife. My wife, however, thinks I should go because I will never get a chance again. I'm lost on what I should do. Update 1. Hello everyone, thank you all who supported me and gave me advice. I took your advice, and I don't want to see my father. I don't think I can handle going there. I haven't talked about my relationship with my father yet because I don't know how to say it. My father wasn't abusive or anything, he did his best as a dad growing up, but he was not a good husband to my mom. He cheated on my mom with my sister's friend when she was 20. She got pregnant, and he told her to get rid of it. My mom found out, and it was hell. She didn't blame my dad one bit. Instead, she smeared that girl's name. She told people lies that the girl was the one who seduced my dad and she was a dirty bleep. The rumors got so bad that I heard she almost tried to end her life. It was difficult for her to stay in our town, so she left. My sister's relationship with my dad was pretty damaged after that, but mom somehow convinced her to be good to dad. And my mom, being the Christian wife she is, forgave my dad and reconciled. I was only 14 when all of this happened. I didn't know much at the time, and my mom pretty much convinced me that my dad was great and he could do no wrong, but I would often see my dad flirting with the ladies at church. I don't know if he had any more affairs after that, but I wouldn't be surprised. This pretty much had a negative effect on me. I didn't see him as a good person as I grew up and understood the world around me. How can you be a good person after ruining someone's life? Like you guys said, I talked to my wife about it. She said that she knows I want to confront my dad about what he did and how sick I am of him. A part of me wanted answers. Why? Why was he like that? Why did he hurt me, his own son? I guess I will never know. I expressed my thoughts about seeing my dad, but I know I am weak. I cannot handle it, and I fear it would be worse. My mom might even try to blackmail me into staying with her. My wife suggested that if it was really that hard for me to confront them face to face, I could write them a letter, and that's what I did. I will not go into details, but it was pretty much what I wrote in my previous post and in here. Some things like how his infidelity has affected both me and my sister. How can he be so heartless that he almost drove an innocent girl to end herself? How could he do that to my wife? How could he hurt his own son? I told him that I will never meet him, not even when he is on his last breaths. I do not want any relationship with them. They are my parents, they are supposed to support me, but they joined the mob of insulting me and my wife just because my wife was older than I am. I will never forgive them. I cried after finishing my letter, and luckily, my wife held me from breaking down. The next day, I met my cousin. She is a good person, one of the few who supported me through my struggles. I gave her my letter and told her to give it to mom, that I will not meet with them, and that's about it. I came home to my family and cried a little more. I think I should take some days off work. I don't know why, but I feel so emotionally drained. I think my mom will still try some other methods to talk to me in the future, and I don't know about my dad's situation yet.